Imagination, we've all got one, even if we don't think we have a good one or we don't think that we have anything worthwhile to share from it. I would like to state for the record, right here, right now, you, yes, you, whoever's watching this, you have an imagination. And in that imagination are infinite possibilities. There's literally nowhere that you can't go or create in your mind. Now, that's not to say that some people aren't more inclined towards logical thinking or that people don't necessarily always have the ability to visualize because, as we know, there are lots of people who can't make pictures in their heads, but that doesn't mean that you can't imagine things. Seeing things in your mind is not the end all be all to being able to imagine things or create things. It really comes down to storytelling. World building and storytelling are two sides of the same coin. They're the two faces, right? If you know about the Roman deity of Janus, or Janus, I think it's Janus, but two faces, right? One pointing this way, one pointing that way. That deity's whole metaphor is about the imagination and it is about gateways and doorways. Janus's representation is both an inward and an outward expression. And it's something that's inspired me for many, many years. So I want to share about my imagination and my process of world building. It all started when I was a lot younger, when I was alone a lot, you know, being of the generation that I come from. I was a latchkey kid and I was on my own a lot and I took care of myself a lot and I had to grow up pretty fast. And no shade, to the people that helped raise me. I did a lot of that raising myself and they would probably agree with me. But my imagination became the safe space that I was able to have for myself. Now, I am one of the people that, vast majority of people that can create pictures in my head. I'm very, very good at visualizing. So that was something I had a little bit of a leg up on. And when it comes to like drawing and writing and things like that, those were not things that I was initially good at. As a matter of fact, I have a story. Speaking of storytelling, when I was younger, I went to a job fair. It was like a junior high school job fair where we all got sent by the school to this place where they were having like kind of like a job fair for kids, like a what do you want to be when you grow up kind of fair. And they had lots of booths, just like you have at a regular job fair, where there were lots of people doing lots of different demonstrations and offering, the opportunity to come in and kind of try out what they were doing. So naturally, I looked for the artist's tent and I found a table with a guy. I want to say it was a guy. I really don't remember what gender this person was, but I found a space where they were talking about being a professional artist and an illustrator. And I remember that I'd been drawing for a long time, but I had no confidence in it. And I just liked doing it. And I thought it would be cool to be an artist for a living. That was like my original dream. But I just didn't understand uh, what it really would take to be an artist. And there wasn't a lot of encouragement or information about being a professional artist for me. So when I sat down with the pen and paper that they handed us little chillins in that space, I drew something. I don't even remember what it was. But I drew it, and I remember that a kid sitting next to me who was from a different school, who was easily 5 or 6 years younger than I was drawing something really cool, like a graphic or a character from a cartoon, but something easily recognizable. And the artist in residence, the one that was, holding the booth, came over and took a look at everybody's drawings and took a look at his drawing and just absolutely gushed over what he had drawn, and told him that he had a real future and all this stuff. And then he looked at mine and very politely looked at me and said, "Well, that's very nice. Thank you very much for this. This is very nice." And oh, the devastation, the absolute devastation that rested into my soul at that moment. I mean, it kept me from picking up a pen for a really long time. So here I am, many years later, drawing at a much higher level and writing at a much higher level and doing my own form of world building and storytelling. And I'm just here to tell you, it's never about perfection. And you can't listen to anything that anybody else says about whether or not you're good enough, because it's bullshit. You do what you want to do because you want to do it and because you have a passion for it. That's all that matters. If you can do that, you can literally do anything. Looking into your imagination is sometimes easier said than done. You know, we all daydream, and that's really where it starts. But what do we daydream about? Oftentimes, it's about the things that we want to do in the future, vacations we want to go on, places we wish we could visit. Uh, a lot of people, myself included, replay the scenarios from the day with the idea that, if we replay them in our minds, that we can make them better. But this is really just the little bits of sand on the beach that, is so vast and so infinite, because you can literally create anything from it. If you think about like Tolkien, Stephen King, Anne Rice, George R. R. Martin, those stories all have to take place somewhere. And world building is just a matter of starting with a simple premise about a place that you wish did exist, even if it's a different version of our own earthly domain. It's a different world. It's a world that you wish existed in your mind. And from a little concept like, I wish there was a world where, you can start creating anything. So if you have a pen and paper handy, if you want to grab a tablet or however you like to take down information, go ahead, go grab it. And I want you to start and write at the top, I wish there was a world where. And just start there. And then start thinking about the things that you would like to actually see in a world that you would be happy inhabiting. Now, that's no shade to the world that we live in today. We all live in a world where there are really good things and there are really shitty things. And then there's the internet, which likes to make all the shitty things look even more shitty and the good things even more impossibly good. But what do you want? If you could create any world for yourself, what would it look like? What kinds of things would be there? Is it magical? Is it terrestrial? Is it logic based? Is it more logical than the world you feel like you inhabit? Or is it much more, free spirited than the world you inhabit? Does it have a lot of structures that look very similar to the ones that we inhabit today? Are they similar but so different that you wouldn't recognize them? Or are they so different and entirely wild and crazy that nobody's ever dreamed of that before? Start with, I wish there was I wish there was a world where, and go. Start coming up with whatever comes next. Freeform writing is a really great way to start getting into the mindset, that is a really great way to start getting into the space of what kind of world would you like to build. So for me, I started with a simple concept of a world that is just like ours, but has a totally unique underlying history, right? I use the template of our world and I put magic into the framework. Not a new concept, but for me, the way that I decided to do it was to go back and rewrite the origin of that world. And to not give too much away because you'll have to read my books to get into the history of all of that stuff. But that's really where it started. And a lot of times it was while I was doing other things. It was while I was cleaning or playing or alone in my room or at the office drawing. I guess I should go back because the world building for this world that I'm writing in, that started about 12 years ago when I was working a desk job and I got to, basically wear my headphones all day and work on stuff that didn't require a lot of my brain power. And while I was doing that, I would have a pen and a piece of paper next to me. Excuse me, water break. I would have a pen and a piece of paper next to me, and I would start writing, in my perfect world, whatever. I started infusing it with things like magic, and I rewrote the history. And the bare bones of it really was okay, so if I wanted to create my own version of Earth, how would it have started? I have to look at the way that we know, scientifically the world has formed and all of those things and be like, okay, but what if it formed not just by happenstance? What if it was formed because of something else? And then from there, I, took a look at things like actual historical things, historical events, urban legends, really fantastical concepts that the ancient world used to believe was real and that the modern world interprets through a modern lens. Things like how did the pyramids get built? Things like was Atlantis a real civilization? Um, Things like that really stimulated my imagination, and from there, I was able to start piecing together the type of history that I wanted my version of Earth to have. So, playing around in your imagination is really where it begins. If you can do that, you can literally do anything. So, if I give you nothing more in this video than inspiration to say, this is what I would like to do. This is the world that I would like to inhabit. That's enough. That's a good place to start. So, thank you for watching. If you made it this far in the video, please like the video. Please leave me a comment. I would also be really interested in learning more about editing and stuff like that. So if you guys have any suggestions, please let me know, and I will see you in the next one.